Welcome everybody to this JFH Hero Training in partnership with WarnerMedia's Urban Action Showcase. And today, your trainer will be Sensei Claus. And Sensei Claus, or Sensei Klaus, as I've been saying for the last 20 minutes and giving myself lots of personal private laughs, is one of the amazing characters sourced from the crowd, the JFH universe, and just happens to be an expert martial artist and martial arts historian. And I've loved everything I've seen from Sensei Klaus, up to this point, and he offered to do this training. So he's got a very, very special style of martial arts that he wants to share more widely, and that's what he's going to be doing today. So thank you so much, Sensei Klaus.
Thank you, Jan, for that great introduction. When Jan says a great martial art, I think of it more as an approach to martial arts or method of understanding. An issue with the way many people practice is they like to take things one piece at a time and not always put the pieces together. So, what today's lesson is going to be about is my personal approach, which I call Fist of the North Pole, also known as Okyoku Shinken. It's from the North Pole, where, lots of great martial arts are from, and it's based off of 6 phases and 3 principles. I won't touch on all of them today, but we only have an hour, so some will get more attention than others, but that's how every class goes. So, to begin, I'd like to tell you about one of the first principles of Okyoku Shinken. This is the principle of the shark. Now, when I say the shark, I'm not speaking about a southern shark like a great white or a pressure shark, not a shark. In the north, we have the Greenland shark. The Greenland shark is a very slow-living, slow-moving animal. Scientists call them sleeper sharks because they're that relaxed. And because a Greenland shark is so relaxed and so efficient and economical with the use of its energy, they can live hundreds of years. There are Greenland sharks alive today that would be older than General George Washington if he was still around. So in the spirit of the Greenland shark, I'd like to invite you to relax and slow down a little bit. Whatever you've been doing today, I'm sure it was important, but you don't need to pay attention to whatever it was at this minute. We have a guest, she'll be in and out. The Greenland shark, as I was saying, is very placid, slow-moving. It does not hurry for anything. The Greenland shark knows it has all the time in the world. If you were going to live 400 years, how would you live your life? I'm saying you should live that way, but it's worth considering. So, we have another student. Welcome. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat, and we'll address them as needed. So, as I was saying, the principle of the Greenland shark, that in order to make the most of things, you don't just have to go fast, you also have to go slow. So, if you have a chair, if you don't mind kneeling down, if you like to sit in lotus like a yogi, feel free to do what makes yourself comfortable. And what I'd like you to do is take the weight off of your spine. It's very common for people to... I'm going to move back so you can see my body better. with their weight back. This puts extra stress on the spine and what's more, the discs that support the spine. What you don't necessarily realize is that the muscles of the stomach are very strong and have great resilience. So what I want you to do is take the extra weight from mine and give it to lower belly. In many martial arts, they speak about the dantian, the hara, the navel chakra. You can call it what you want. But in this situation, I'd like you to find a bit of mass that is a bit below and behind the belly button. And you'll feel a light pressure on it as you take the weight from your spine. Don't lean forcefully, or you might miss it. In fact, start go a little back and bring your body forward until it's neutral, and you should feel a light pressure in the lower abdomen. As you lean forward, it gently pushes you back like you're floating in water. If you can find this, focus on it, keep it, let it calm you down. Let that bring you into the now. Because there's a time to plan, there's a time to remember, but I'd be very grateful if you came into the now. Point, and you can feel that buoyancy. Hold it, maintain it, do not force it, and let that draw everything downward. Any extra tension, energy, stress you have, go from your head and let it sink, sink, sink to the center of your body. And we're going to hold that briefly because this is something that when you have the hang of it, you can do as needed in the subway, in the car. But I'd like you to at least touch on it just once, if not again. So, while we're here, welcome to whoever just joined up. While you're here, at this abdominal point, feeling this buoyancy, this counter pressure, I'd like to move on from the shark while still keeping this, but changing the topic to one of the other principal animals, is the fox. The Arctic fox is a very special animal. Not everyone knows this, but while most animals hunt using sight, smell, or hearing, the Arctic fox can see through the snow. We're not sure how he does it, but we've seen him do it. So, the fox represents perception. Since you're in this tranquil but aware state, bring out your awareness. Feel any tension you might be carrying, any stress, any stiffness. Feel it and go through it. If you want it, keep it. But the better you see it, you'll find the less you want it. And once you've seen yourself, you can then take that awareness and bring it to your opponent. So, as I've said, this is primarily an informative session. So we're not going to spend too much time on the shark and fox, but they're very important. So it was important to me that you hear a bit about them. So, remember the shark? Feel the lower abdominal buoyancy. As you lean forward, it pushes you right back up. But gently, as I said, don't force it, or you'll usually lose it. Understand the fox. Look, hear, feel, smell. Let's work on smell briefly. You can do this with any sense. But inhale, and as you inhale, draw from the soft palate behind the nose and feel where you do your smelling. Your glands, for the most part, aren't low in the nostrils. They're up in the nose and a ways back. As you inhale, whatever you inhale, you experience and understand. Smell is a good one because it's often an unconscious element of the mind that we want to bring to conscious awareness. Over time, you would ideally do this with other senses, such as kinesthetic awareness and proprioception. But as I have said a few times now, we have an hour, so we will endeavor to make this hour count as best we can. So, calm yourself, feel the energy, smell, see, hear, and get your awareness functioning. And then I would like to ask you to do some warm-ups with me before we get to the 6 phases. So, if you don't mind standing, this is a basic stretch. Everyone knows it. You go across the body and pull back with your forearm. Here's where we're going to do differently. Instead of pulling and developing what's called passive flexibility, and as you pull, resist in a kind of light isometric. As you do this, you will be able to develop flexibility without sacrificing strength. If you bring yourself forcefully into a position where you can no longer exert what you might call muscular tension, where you can no longer move effectively, you've gone too far. By using isometric stretching, you're able to understand what your healthy range of motion is and build on it. So, change arms, stretch, and push. Feel where your arms meet, feel that interaction. If you like, try to bring your right arm through your left as if it wasn't there. And if that's not too much, come back to your center and feel that point of buoyancy. Now, in the spirit of these isometrics, we're going to put our hands in front of the throat. This is an exercise that helps strengthen the ligaments of the elbows and develop extensive and flexive strength. So, imagine if you were arm wrestling yourself. You get the wrists into it, because a lot of people tend to do this like praying hands, which can actually hurt the wrists, gauge the wrists, because otherwise they can become a weak point of the arm. So, clasp the hands, engage the wrists, then bring the arms together. Gently but firmly bring them to each other and continue to grab as if your hands could crush each other. Now, do not hurt yourself, but use your feeling, use your awareness, and find where you're at the point you could almost hurt yourself, but you won't. You're becoming stronger. Fingers grab, wrists activate. Again, not dead wrists, live wrists. The arms come together. This is not a hold. That's a common way to get less out of the exercise. If you just grab and hold. This is a continuous effort, what's known as an overcoming isometric. And breathe. Make sure that your arms get enough oxygen so you won't be sore tomorrow. Then, give them a quick shake. Fingers spread out like you're flicking off water to dry them up. Then, we'll get to the next one. Similar principle, only now your arms are not equal. In the first position, your arms are equal. Depending on how you grip, you have a very fair chance. Now, I'm in possession of a stronger right arm. A stronger right arm than my left arm. But because the leverage is this way, my left arm has the advantage. So, the right arm pushes down, and the left arm resists as it is able. If you need to, let it move up and down a bit. And ideally, maintain that center. If you're a grappler like our friend Jan or Mr. Machado from Monday night, this can help you get leverage and purchase in awkward positions, which is very valuable when someone very much wants to put you in an awkward position. Then we change arms. Now right over left. The right pushes down. The left resists as best as it can. And you're going to put out power without becoming overly tense, without being overly stressed. As you can hear my voice become tense, that's because I'm overdoing it. This is a warm-up, so we're going to do it in a relaxed way. If you hear me become tense, that means I'm doing it wrong in this particular context. Now, next exercise, if you have some space around you, we're going to do a figure 8 with the leg. Some of you might have seen this. It develops active flexibility and also a bit of strength and balance. To do this one, we're only going to do a few, because if you want to see it, you can just get the video from Jan and rewind me. So like I said, we're going to be touching on a lot where you don't need to do everything as long as you would in a normal class. So pick one leg first, get your knee up high. You can push down on it if you want, get a little bit of isometric action again, and find your balance. Lean a bit all around. See if you fall over. Might happen. And bring down your center. Find where you're wobbling. The lower the better. If you can feel the wobble, try to take it down to your ankle. And if you can wobble down to your ankle, try and take your wobble down to your foot. And when your wobble's down to your foot, try to put your wobble deep in the ground. This is a good exercise on its own, or we're using it as a preparation. So, one leg, get your, let's just call it the center going in, and now figure eights. So, leg comes up, back, down, and around. You can either point with your toe and draw a circle, or you can bring it up. You can do it with a lean and counterbalance, or you can try and stand straight up with no lean whatsoever. I recommend doing whatever is harder. If it's too easy with a lean, then take the lean away. If it's too easy without a lean, then lean big. This one develops a lot of flexibility. And, sorry, let me move my hammer. Don't need you for now. Go slowly and feel it. Do a couple circles absolutely straight up. And do a couple counterweighing yourself. And reverse it. So, if you've been going from right to left, go left to right. Whichever you do first, it doesn't matter as long as you get them both done. And it's already 6:22, so I'm just going to give you 2 more warm-ups because I have a lot to get through today. And since you've been generous enough to give me your time, I want to give you back as much as I can. So, 1 more exercise for the upper body, 1 more for the lower. This one is simple. It's called flicking hands. So, let your hands drop. Nice and easy. Like you've been carrying something heavy. You gave it to somebody, your arms are tired, let them go. Heavy, 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 nothing. Then, bring them out. Heavy, 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 nothing. Behind you, maybe you're helping somebody carry a couch. You're carrying your heavy couch, nothing. Something above your head, you're giving somebody this big, heavy box of books or barbells or bricks, doesn't matter what, but it is heavy, and they take it and you drop it. You always want to be able to drop it. No matter what you're doing, if you hold on to your tension, it gives your opponent too much to work with. And it has the added benefit of bringing your center down. We're not going to do this because of time limitations. But let's say you are in one of these single-legged bends as before. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Got something on your foot too. Don't know why you're doing that, but why not? And drop. Depending on how big you are, how coordinated you are, your leg will usually go down first. When you do that, protect your toes. Let's try that again. Heavy, heavy, heavy. And drop. Ideally, you want your heel to impact because your heel is your foot's natural crash pad. And from that exercise, let's go to one of the great exercises of Japanese martial arts. Now, even though I did say Hokyoku Shinken is the North Pole, is from the North Pole, clauses do get around a lot. So we take inspiration where we find it. So this next exercise is called a Chico. It's very popular in sumo wrestling, karate, judo. If you know it, get ready. If not, eyes on me, please. For a Chico, you generally want to get in a low stance, as low as is comfortable. And what you do, you make sure you have one leg ready to make the weight. You get your weight above it nice and easy. Other leg comes up. And you bring it back down. Break it up if you learn the movement into up, stomp, squat. Up, stomp, squat. You can also do it as one movement. Up, stomp, up, stomp. I highly recommend first doing it as two movements. So, up and hold it a bit. Down, squat, up. There you go. Hold it a bit and down. And if you can, this is where it gets good. Maintain your central buoyancy, your pressure of the inner abdomen during the entire exercise. If you can, don't make it hard on yourself. It's more important to train in a way that teaches your nerves and is relatively easy on the body. Because the nerves learn every day. Muscle, it builds easier, but recovers more slowly. And I love warm-ups. I could do warm-ups for the entire hour, but it wouldn't be fair to you. So we've done our warm-ups, and we've gone through a bit of shark and a bit of fox. Sorry, what's this doing? There we go. So, those were two of the principal animals of Hokyoku Shinken. Now, I'd like to teach you all about 6 of the remaining 9 animals. They are reindeer, walrus, hare, weasel, polar bear, and Arctic tern. We have half an hour on my clock, so if we keep each to about 4 minutes, that'll give us time for questions. I know that's a bit too fast, but if you need to follow up on it, you can always contact me. Jan's got my information. And if you need to email, senseiclaus@gmail.com. Now let's get to it. The first animal represents the primary phase of combat. That is conversions. Got my lovely assistant here. Such a good friend, always helping me out. This heavy bag is going to thankfully stand in for an opponent. Now, it's true, a live opponent is much smarter, more helpful than heavy bag, but heavy bag is a lot more patient. So it's going to be helping me out today. If you see the swing, what's it do? It goes towards me and away from me, towards me and away from me. And it can also do nothing. That's how every fight goes. If you have one opponent, you can go towards them, away from them, or you can hold your ground, and they can do the same. So, reindeer. If you've seen reindeers compete, they fight with their heads. We won't be doing that because you can't see. If you can't see, then you're not doing the poor fox justice. Instead, get your arms up like a couple of antlers. Going to squat back down again so you can see better. If you have your arms up, this is not a proper guard. This is a double extended block. It's a lot like before when I was saying to hold something over your head. When you're supporting this, you feel it above your head and you're ready to drop. Now, when you do a punch from this position, it's a targeted drop. Because you can't go any higher without stressing yourself. So, you're not going to add more, you're going to let go. So, here's my heavy bag. If you have a friend, you can practice with them. If you have a bat, you can use a bag. If you have an imagination, you can use your imagination. So, bag swings away, and to me. I have my guard up, I'm ready, I'm going to come to the bag. What you saw is a very simple knuckle hammer. It's a lot like a screw jab, as in boxing. I'm not hammering down. That's one option. That's not what we're doing right now. We're hammering in. The reason why this is a good choice of technique, if you're going to be converging with somebody, as in my partner now has a hand out too. A better friend, thank you. Now, this is coming to me. If I don't move, I get hit. If I don't want to go back, I want to go to it. So, comes to me. I have my guard up, and that knocked the bag off center. But ideally, what you want is to come in over the top. If the arm's coming at you and you're ready, you drop, you get, the forearm on top of the bag, the knuckles penetrate. If you use both arms, it can be another solo drill, like a warm-up. So, arms up and down, back up and down. Remember the drop? Here's the drop again. Only instead of dropping all the way, you're only going to drop a third. Arms up, picking up something heavy. Arms up and down. Arms up and down. Arms up and down. Now you won't necessarily fight like this, but once you've learned a principle, you'll find you can apply it. Sorry, I'm talking to the wrong screen. You'll find you can apply it. So, again, same thing. Reindeer, reindeer. The bag is coming to me. I have my guard up, but I don't want to do my punch. I'm just going to use a normal boxing jab. Same principle, because even though I didn't take it up high, I was still able to accelerate through and cut off the line of my opponent. So, same thing, standard boxing jab. What you want is to have an eye on the opponent. Don't worry so much about the arm, because if he's intelligent, if he's got his fox training done, he's clever, he can see, then he'll see you looking at his arms, and he'll take your mind. You focus on him, or her, but usually him. You put your attention on your opponent, and when the time is right, when the distance is right, you move through them. So, it could be an exaggerated movement. It could be a simple jab. It could even be, if the angulation is correct, something like a hook. Now, again, time is limited. It's already 6:37 in here in New York. So I'm going to show you one more with the reindeer. We've gone through the classic antlers. We did the standard boxing jab. Here's the corkscrew hook. If you don't know that one, a corkscrew hook is any hook in which you allow your arm to go beyond this palm down and flat position. It could be this much, it could be this much. We're going to go light, and instead of drawing all the way through and really putting the shoulder into it, we're going to just go knuckles a little down. Elbow is going to be not entirely out to the side, but a little bit up. This one's different because instead of this kind of a screw jab or the knuckle hammer, we're going to have the elbow up, which means much less solid stopping power. We're going to instead screw through. So, depending on who you are, I might love this technique, you might not like it, but I love to teach it. So, swing, swing, swing the bag. It's coming to me. And you see how I came off of it? That's called glancing, where that bit of extra turn takes you off the target. It's not something, again, like the elbow down, where you dip and then you might stay there because you have a good structure. It's a bigger movement. You screw on through, then you might flip it and go back. It's something to practice, and if you go slowly, you can make another warm-up. So, you know what? I'm going to go all the way down. Here we go. So, we're running out of time, so just a minute on this. You can feel your hand go out like it's being pulled by a rope, like you're not even doing it. And this is just for joint health, so we're going all the way. Then twist and pull back. Extend and retract at the same time, like they're connected. If you can, get your lower abdomen activated. Remember, take the weight off your spine, especially the discs. Your stomach muscles are stronger than you would ever believe. They can support you all day. And like I said, we're only doing that for a minute because time is of the essence. And I'm so grateful to you for your time, I can't waste it. So, let's get to the next animal. The next animal is walrus. Now, what does a walrus do? A walrus is different from a stag. A stag comes to his opponent. A walrus and his opponent square off, get into position, and then they make contact. In something like Muay Thai, you'll see a lot of clinch work. In something like push hands, if you're going to watch Jan, you'll see similar things. In wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling especially, they do a lot of this, where neither one is willing to give or hold ground. The reindeer teaches you courage because you're willing to see the opponent coming to you and go to him. It's courage. The walrus teaches resilience because you're going to neither go towards him or away from him. The one thing you know is that you will not back down. Now, I don't know what rank your heavy bag is, but my heavy bag's a brown belt. So we're going to use him in this way. You can also do this with a training partner if you have one handy. As you can see, I'm tied to the bag. I can't back up. He'll come with me. So, except for some hooks, it's difficult to strike in this position. So how does a walrus fight? The walrus has tusks. Your tusks are some of the best natural weapons of the body. Fundamental movement, up and down, up and down. Secondary movements, inside, outside, inside, outside. So, if you have a heavy bag, you can tie yourself to it. You practice striking close, 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 close. because the bag, no matter how hard you strike it, unless you can break this belt, and this is a good, solid cotton belt made in America, it's not going back. Now, for those of you wondering, what if I don't have a bag? Well, that's where we get into the Walrus with 2 L's. Put a forearm on the wall, other forearm on the wall, wear a shirt, and walk your legs out. Looks silly, I know, but this builds your guard. You can clasp your hands, and what you want is, again, none of this. No pressure on your back, nothing on your discs. Your discs are very important. They got to last you your entire life. So, put your weight on the wall. Think of it like a gift. It's Fistmas. We all love gifts at Fistmas time. Give your weight to the wall. Let it go. If you want, bring one leg up. This way, if someone, hey, Jen's doing it. Oh, Amber's doing it too. You have a support here. The lower you go, the harder it is to do. This is a very easy way to understand your structure and to let your own mass. Oh, is there a question? It's not. Let your mass go through to the wall. What this is good for is it'll develop your forearms. It'll develop your structure so that if someone is going to hit you and you have that elbow up, it will very naturally bring them, of course, because you know your elbow, you know where it is, you know where your forearm is. And if you are in close, you don't need to make a big movement. You don't need to hit from low or bend back and come down or swing in, because you understand your forearm, you know where it is, you know where you're strong. And it can just come in very cleanly, very evenly. You could very easily do several classes on the Walrus alone. It's one of the most important. Oh, there's a question from Jan. You want to be in the North Pole? I'm sorry I missed the context, but I'm sure I did. I almost always mean the North Pole. It's my favorite place. New York is very nice too. I've also been to Vienna. It's lovely, but you don't come here for travel advice. You come to me for martial arts. So, back to it. Next animal is the hare. Almost all martial arts methods are about the hare. With the hare, you're holding your ground. I know it seems silly, but watch 2 hares throw hands. They're boxers, they're dynamic, they fight on their back legs. They're like tiny kangaroos almost, but I've never been to Australia, so don't know about that one. But anyways, the hare wants to hold his ground. He's ready. He's looking at the bag. The bag's coming to him, and you keep your ground. Whatever your arm span is, he's not getting in there. Think like if you had a bubble around you. Oh, that's a very good question. I do deliver to Australia, but that's a work thing. I don't usually have time to stop and see the fauna. I would really like to, but being a Sensei Claus is a full-time job. And the free time I have goes to training. So if there's anyone from Australia here, you have a beautiful country. I'd love to visit you one day. And look at the kangaroos. But, anyways, that's the concept of the hair. You're absolutely able to move a bit. You might sidestep. You might actually shoot back. But you maintain your center and you watch your adversary. The one thing that a hare does not do is attack an attacker, because that's reindeer again. You know, a hare, he's got his own job. He doesn't want to come to the guy coming in. He wants to keep his attention there, keep ready, and when he comes, take his space back. A hare says, "This is my space. This is mine. You don't get to come here." Now, we are at 11 minutes, so I would like to get to the opposite of the hare. This might be the most challenging animal, is the weasel. While a hare holds his ground against someone taking ground, a weasel takes ground against somebody holding it. In nature, weasels will dance around, roll on the ground, do anything to get a little bit closer to have their range. So the weasel needs to be a bit of a fox because he needs to have his awareness on the opponent. And he needs to know when his range is perfect. And best of all, what a weasel loves is when the opponent's attention flags. This is something that you can do with somebody else, or nothing at all. Think of it like a staring contest, where the point isn't to see who blinks, but see who loses focus. If you're on a bus, on a train, find something uninteresting. Find something like a spot on the wall, a hole in the ground, something you don't care about, and look at it. Don't worry about fighting it, beating it up. Just look. Because when you look, you don't want to lose your mind. You don't want to let your mind get caught. So look at something uninteresting. Spot on the wall, hole in the ground, and just keep looking. This way you develop focus without interest. It's difficult to train on the bag compared to some of the others, but the bag is here. I find a small spot. You can't see it. There's a little white spot right here. Now look at it. The bag comes forward, back. I'm going to let it go side to side. Follow the spot. Don't necessarily turn, make a big movement. Just see it. You're not working your eye muscles here, even though you can. You're working your focus. You're working what's behind the eyes. If you can get this, what we call weasel eyes, in the North Pole, you'll find most people will defeat themselves or become too afraid to fight. You empty your eyes, you look. And when they move, you'll know the exact right moment. So, weasel eyes, I'm going to be very quick over the last two animals in the 6 phases because we're running very low on time. So,
I have a quick question for you, Sensei Claus. What is your favorite move to do after delivering presents?
After delivering presents, I like to do a little bit of the yoga because it is hard on your back. If you have something to hang on to, like my friend back here, you can kneel down and let yourself relax into it. And as you go down, you can pull a bit, move your legs, anything that protects your back, because you only get one and your entire nervous system goes through there. It's actually better here. It's called a rope bridge. So you're leaning back, back, back. You feel your spine. If it hurts, stop. Let yourself pull. And go down. I don't have time to do this for a full minute or what have you, because we have 5 to go. I haven't touched on 3 animals, but that is another great warm-up. I could easily do an hour just on warm-ups. The opposite, just while I have you, is the rope plank, where instead of going back, you let yourself go down. Unfortunately, I don't have the space for it. But think like you have a rope overhead, and you just walk yourself down it like you're going down a rope. Of course, you would have your entire body in line. I would show you if I had the camera space. But that is another great way to exercise your core. So, 3 animals on the clock. Then, Jan, do we have time for questions?
We do. We have a few minutes left, and if anyone has any questions for Sensei.
Let's try that, and I can go to the animals later if need be. Any questions anyone's got?
Inez or Mark or Cash?
There. Yes. So Sensei, thank you. Question regarding the last animal's focus with the eyes. Could you just elaborate a little bit more on where that focus is? Is it directed? Is it much broader?
That is a very good question. That's another thing we could spend an hour on, but as grateful as I am for your time, I don't know if we have another hour, but there are essentially 2 ways that you just mentioned. There's what's called easy eyes, the peripheral vision, where you look at everything like you're just looking out a window, a panorama, a landscape. and you see 180 degrees. One way to practice that is look forward, but take your fingers and bring them back. And look at them. Don't move your eyes, but see how long you can see them. This is the better type of vision as far as things go. It's a general rule. If you're in hair, if you're holding your ground, watching an adversary come to you, you want to relax it. If you've seen hares, they have eyes almost in the size of their heads. Terrific peripheral vision. So this is almost an unconscious thing. You let yourself see everything. Your whole field of vision opens up wide. And once you've done that one, you go high too. Don't force it, just pay attention. Don't go too far, because then your eyes will snap back to the middle. Just expand your field of vision, relax, and see it come. What you find is if your distance is correct, you'll move before you know it. With peripheral vision, we'll say rabbit eyes because hare eyes is a bit confusing. Now, when you're talking about visualizing a point, that's binocular vision. That's why we use that exercise for the weasel form. Because a weasel, he's not worried about what's coming to him. He's worried about coming to the opponent. So he wants to focus on the opponent, to bring his intent, his focus right on them. What's important is you don't get a feeling of mental tension. If you're doing that and your eyes are bugging out, you're likely overdoing it and you'll tire yourself. You want to focus directly. But the important part is do not let your focus latch on. What most people do wrong is they focus and then something catches their interest. A hand movement, a head fake, something. Which is why I mentioned the exercise where you watch a spot. That way you develop focus, but not interest. The spot is not interesting. You have the power of focus through your will alone, through your own intention. That way, as their focus lapses, as their rabbit vision breaks, you have the exact perfect interval to go in. One of the great swordsmen, Musashi, liked to talk about flint. If you've ever made a fire with flint, you know you take the steel and you take the flint, you strike it, and there's a spark. Now, to us, the spark looks instant, but it's not. There is a gap. There is a small, small gap between the strike and the spark. If you're aware of that, I think you can beat anybody. But, that's theory. But thank you very much for your question. I'm happy.
Thank you for that explanation.
Sensei Claus, everyone, thank you so much. Thank you, Sensei Claus, for spending the time today with us and for all the amazing, incredibly dynamic and well thought out systems that you've built Again, for Justice for Hire, Justice for Hire is a cinematic universe being built with the crowd. Anyone can join the cast and grow and grow your characters and connect with other characters and meet online. And of course, before COVID, we were doing a lot of stuff in person as well. So we're figuring that out now. But just thanks to everybody and to WarnerMedia's Urban Action Showcase for giving us a reason to come together and to showcase some of the amazing creations, including Sensei Claus from this wonderful universe. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you very much for your time and your attention.
Cheers, man. I'm gonna.
Merry
Fistmas. Merry Fistmas, everybody.
Look forward to seeing you all again.